evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Thursday, May 25, 2023. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. MAHDIA tragedy, 2 still critical, 6 on suicide watch. International partners continue to offer help. Senior prison officer orders remanded over escape of high-profile prisoner. OAS Secretary General in Guyana. Cop charged with stealing gun from police force gets bail, and over 1,000 rounds of ammo found in abandoned house. Now for the news in detail. It is still just days after the tragic MAHDIA dorm fire that claimed the lives of 19 young persons, and those close to the incident are still struggling to come to grips with the horrifying reality of the situation. Of those who survived the ghastly ordeal, 2 remain critical, battling for their lives, while 6 students are on suicide watch. Here is Pooja Rambran with our lead story tonight.
President Dr. Irfan Ali on Thursday went live from his Facebook page to provide an update to the nation on the current situation following Sunday night's tragedy at the MAHDIA Secondary School females dormitory that claimed the lives of 19 and left scores of students injured.
9 are still in hospital. 20 were discharged in Georgetown and are with their parents. 5 will leave to MAHDIA sometime today or in the morning. 2 remain critical. 1 with a 40% burn has been offered to be flown to Shriner in Texas, one of the best burn care hospitals.
President Ali added that regional and international partners are continuing to offer assistance to ensure the children needing advanced care are able to access it promptly.
Working simultaneously with Cuba, who have offered full support for all of these children to get the necessary medical care that may not be available here in Guyana.
Medical teams within MAHDIA Region 8 are also providing mental health support to children and families, taking keen attention to those who seem high risk. National Security Advisor Jerry Gavaya highlighted Thursday's medical evacuation efforts.
Today, we had a medical evacuation that was executed this afternoon for a young boy apparently who committed or attempted suicide, and then as we speak another plane just landed MAHDIA as we're speaking here now, and they're about to extract 6 other young people who are on a suicide watch.
President Ali remarked that the medical team on the ground in MAHDIA are demonstrating proactiveness in identifying individuals who are experiencing mental distress, though he also added that specialized counseling will be made available to those who seek it from international hospitals and clinics.
Yesterday I issued an order that every children, every parent, every family member who would like to be out with their children, to support their children for counseling, that we are offering the full unhindered support through flights and transportation. We have made a request to Mount Sinai, Northwell, PAHO, SOUTHCOM, and RSS for specialized counseling, all of whom will have responded positively. And we are hoping that these specialist counselors will come to support our local team in the communities, in the schools, to support the families during this difficult time.
Pooja Rambran for the Evening News.
Calling it an unconscionable act, Vice President Dr. Jagdeo has slammed persons who have been capitalizing on the grief of the MAHDIA tragedy for political mileage. Rupasina Ryan tells us more.
At his weekly press conference on Thursday, Vice President Dr. Jagdeo called out actions to politicize the grief of those affected by the tragic MAHDIA dormitory fire, less than 1 week after 19 young persons lost their lives. It is an incident which has shaken the nation, as many families await the recovery of those who are still hospitalized with injuries.
There's a time and place for everything. And to urge those who have been so disrespectful as to politicize or try to politicize this national tragedy, to capitalize on people's grief is unconscionable. And any attempt to do so should be condemned by the entire public. We've seen it happen in sometimes veiled forms, and then in other cases in almost a flagrant, open manner.
Nevertheless, Jagdeo positioned that the country will overcome this current devastation, reiterating that full support is being given to the bereaved. In due time, he noted that all answers will be provided.
We will overcome this, and the parents and all of the families know because they've been told this, that the government will stand by their side. And as I said, there is a time and place for everything, and we'll have all the answers in the future.
As the country continues to mourn, Jagdeo said that this year's Independence Day celebrations will be subdued. In the meantime, cabinet ministers and other integral stakeholders remain on the ground to lend support. Reporting for the Evening News, Rupa Sinarayan.
President Dr. Irfan Ali and senior members of the Guyana government met the Secretary General of the Organization of American States, Luis Almagro, this morning at State House in Georgetown. Find out more in this Vanu Manikchand report.
The OAS Secretary General Luis Almagro and his team are currently in Guyana for his first visit here since his appointment to the post in 2015. At the State House meeting on Thursday morning, President Dr. Irfan Ali was joined by Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, Vice President Dr. Bart Jagdeo, and several cabinet ministers as well as Guyanese diplomats. Up to news time, no official information was released regarding the purpose of the OAS Secretary General's visit to Guyana. This is the second meeting between the Guyana government and the OAS official. Back in September 2021, President Ali had met Secretary General Almagro Limes at the office of the Permanent Mission to Guyana in New York. The OAS official was one of the key international figures who was outspoken during the March 2020 elections fiasco in Guyana, calling for democracy to prevail and the will of the majority of Guyanese people to be respected. The OAS had also mounted an election observer mission for the 2020 elections. The OAS is the world's oldest regional organization. It brings together all 35 independent states of the Americas and constitutes the main political, judicial, and social governmental forum in the hemisphere. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
Almost 1 week after the daring escape of death row prisoner Royden Williams, 6 persons, including 2 civilians, have been remanded to prison for their involvement in the well-planned jailbreak. Tasia Dickinson reports.
Senior Superintendent and Officer in charge of the Mazaruni prison, Alexander Hopkinson, was on Thursday remanded to prison over the brazen daylight escape of death row prisoner Royden Williams, also known as Smalley, which occurred on May 19th. Hopkinson, along with 3 other prison officials and 2 civilians, appeared before the Bartica Magistrates Court, where they were charged with conspiring to facilitate the escape of the notorious mass murderer. Hopkinson, a 59-year-old father of 6, resided at 5 Miles Bartica Housing Scheme in Region 7, Cuyuni, Mazaruni. Meanwhile, the others who have been charged are 48-year-old Rajmahan Otter, called Chico, a businessman of Perica East Bank, Essequibo; 28-year-old Frangelis Gigandri Flores Perez, a Venezuelan national of Kitty, Georgetown; Omar Witherspoon, a 28-year-old of Stanleytown, New Amsterdam, Berbice; 35-year-old Conroy Hassan of East Kanji, Berbice; and 50-year-old Oldfield Romulus of Victoria Cumberland Village, East Kanji, Berbice. The matter has been adjourned to June 22nd. Meanwhile, the massive manhunt continues for Smalley. The prisoner made a daring escape from the maximum security Mazaruni prison on May 19 with the assistance of heavily armed individuals. The escape occurred in broad daylight and involved the use of a speedboat. During the escape, The escort party accompanying Williams was attacked with AK-47 rifles by the individuals on the boat, which was in the Mazaruni River. Following the escape, a reward of $10 million was announced by the Guyana police force for any information leading to Williams' arrest. Williams is a convicted mass murderer, having been found guilty of the Bartica massacre in 2008. During that incident, he and his accomplices ambushed and killed 12 individuals, including 3 policemen. Further, Williams was sentenced to death for the murder of Guyana Defense Force member Corporal Ivor Williams on January 23, 2008. Williams had previously escaped from the Camp Street prison on July 9, 2017, but was eventually recaptured on October 10, 2017 on the Weldat Public Road, West Coast, Berbice. Tassia Dickinson, The Evening News.
Coming up, occupants escape unharmed after boat erupts in flames on Pomeroon River, and cop charged with stealing gun from police force gets bail. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe.
On the job, you know how it goes. 1 minute everything's going right and the next something goes wrong. Don't worry, Premier Insurance will make things right again. For all risks insurance, call 223-0840 or visit premierinsurance.gy. Fuel your success. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Place your bets during the matches and win up to $3 million per coupon with live betting. Check out all the different matches and bet types at www.superbet.gy. Superbet, your best bet. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply. Sally's Boutique is the place to shop when looking for quality high-end men and women footwear, wristwear, wallets, and clothing. Follow us on Instagram, Sally's Boutique GY. We're located at Charlotte Street between Camp and Wellington Streets. Contact us on 231-7519. That's 231-7519. WhatsApp 613-9578. That's 613-9578. Sally's Boutique, the new home of Clarks.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. A total of 1,070 rounds of ammunition of varying caliber were found today in an abandoned house at Avocado Square, East Rheinfeldt, Georgetown. The discovery was made by agents of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit during an operation. Among the ammunition discovered were 600 rounds of .40 mm, 330 rounds of .38 mm, 33 rounds of .45 mm and 107 rounds of .22 mm. The large cache was transported to KANU headquarters as investigations continue. KANU has said no arrests were made. A serving member of the Guyana Police Force has been charged with stealing a gun from the law enforcement organization. 36-year-old Police Sergeant Relando Sandy of Golden Grove, East Bank, Demerara, was arraigned before Acting Chief Magistrate Sherdal Isaacs Marcus on Thursday. Particulars of the charge against him stated that between January 23 and 24, at Rabbit Walk, Georgetown, he stole a Glock 17 9mm pistol from the government of Guyana. The policeman's defense attorney, Patrice Henry, requested that his client be released on reasonable bail, submitting that he is not a flight risk and that he is ready to clear his name. With no objection raised by the prosecutor, Sergeant Sandy was granted bail in the sum of $100,000 and instructed to return to court on June 13. With the Black Belly Sheep Initiative already seeing benefits locally, more of the animals are expected to arrive in the country before the end of June. Pooja Rambaran tells us more.
I have spoken to the Minister of Agriculture in Barbados only yesterday, and he told me by the end of June we'll receive the balance of the black belly sheep. So all in all, I think agriculture is moving forward in Guyana.
That was Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa providing an update on the Black Belly Sheep project. In August last year, Guyana received the first cargo of 132 sheep, inclusive of 20 rams and 112 ewes. The program was launched with an estimated $600 million investment from the government. President Dr. Irfan Ali, during the launch of the project at Onverwac West Coast Berbice in March 2022, had said the project is intended to pave the way for Guyana to tap into the region's hefty food importation bill, which sees CARICOM countries collectively spending some US $43 million on import of mutton alone. And even though Guyana's food production capabilities are impressive, the country still imports approximately US $130,000 worth of mutton. Meanwhile, President Ali had hoped that with Guyana's projected increase in mutton production, Guyana can target markets in Bahamas, Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad and Tobago. Pooja Rambrand for the Evening News.
Tasia Dickinson joins us to report that some 300 farmers across the country will soon benefit from the shipment of 13,000 Brazilian green dwarf coconut seed nuts, which were recently acquired by the Agriculture Ministry. Here are the details.
Guyana's coconut industry is set to benefit from additional inputs as the Ministry of Agriculture's Hope Coconut Industries Limited, HCIL, recently acquired a shipment of Brazilian green dwarf coconut seed nuts valued at $12 million. This shipment forms part of HCIL's 2023 work plan and is in keeping with the government's overall goals of expanding and further developing Guyana's coconut industry. While offering remarks, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa said that the high-yielding variety was first introduced last December.
I am very pleased that we have received 13,000 of those green dwarf high-value coconut from Brazil. Last year, with the 2,000 coconut that we would have received as a grant from the IDB and the EU, we had 24 farmers we would have helped to increase the varieties around the country. This here will help us tremendously, where we'll roll out this program across the country in all the regions of our country, and we will engage close to about 300 farmers, between 275 to 300 farmers will benefit, will help us to increase the variety, to multiply it, so that we can create an industry of a coconut in our country in terms of export, because when you look at our export earnings in the agriculture sector, the coconut is the third highest revenue earner in our country. And we want to make this a major industry for us.
Apart from acquiring additional planting materials, the minister also disclosed that the government has engaged specialists from India who are expected to visit Guyana to assist with further developing the industry.
My last visit to India, I have engaged some specialists there who will be coming. They will be coming to Guyana shortly to help us to develop the coconut industry. When I became Minister of Agriculture, I said deliberately we will put a lot of effort and emphasis in the coconut industry. At that time I said I projected to increase coconut by 1,000 acres annually. However, I am pleased that to date, less than 3 years, we have seen seen over 5,000 acres coconuts have increased. So that shows a tremendous improvement in our coconut industry.
According to Mustafa, with the support the government is giving the industry, it is expected that coconut production will exceed 10,000 acres. HCIL also recently procured the first of 8 coconut shredders that will be used to shred waste materials such as coconut husk into coconut fiber, which will be used for mulching and other agriculture-related purposes. While speaking on the new equipment, Mustafa noted that the coconut waste material has a value-added component that will now be utilized in coconut cultivation and other areas within the agriculture sector with the acquisition of the shredder. Tasia Dickinson, The Evening News.
A boat this morning burst into flames while traversing the Pomeroon River, Region 2, but all the occupants have escaped unharmed. The boat was captained by a man identified only as Scarface. He too escaped without injuries. The Evening News understands that at the time of the incident, the vessel was heading to Martindale, Lower Pomeroon. Another boat captain who plies the route explained that he heard Scarface was trying to connect a wire to a battery on board, and that caused a spark that ignited the entire vessel. As the fire began to spread, all occupants reportedly jumped overboard but were quickly rescued by another boat. Up to news time, the matter was not reported to the police. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbor Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Friday, May 26 at 9 hours for a period of 1.5 hours, and then again at 23 hours, also for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Friday, May 26th at 8 hours for a period of 1.5 hours.
Elite League resumes this weekend after national mourning and Gold Cup prep in Jamaica, USA for Golden Jags. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles.
What is local government? Local government is the system of locally elected members representing their communities and making decisions on their behalf. Local factors such as geography, the environment, economic opportunities, and health can be better taken account of by local governments charged with making decisions that affect their communities. These decisions can relate to the effective and efficient provision of services to meet community needs, to the regulation of certain functions, to facilitation of local activities, and to pursue community goals. In making these decisions, councils have to report to their communities in a clear and accountable way. Local authorities cannot achieve their objectives alone. They work closely with central government and with other organizations, public bodies, businesses, and citizens. Once elected, local governments are empowered to serve the people who live within the municipality or neighborhood democratic council and constituencies to which they were elected. Monday, June 12, 2023 is Local Government Elections Day. For further information, contact GCOM or visit the GCOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Entrepreneurs, coconut byproducts are in high demand. How can you cater to that demand? By investing in a coconut shredder from Sylvie's. Guaranteed to increase your output, this 110-volt stainless steel machine shreds coconut in seconds, allowing you to also save on labor and time. From the shreds, you can create coconut powder, oil, milk, etc. Order yours now at sylviesonline.com or at our 31 High and Hatfield Street store.